This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin. Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live where my mic is way too hot. Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. I had a request to play the Trump interview in its entirety, so I said I would come on 30 minutes early, and we would watch the Piers Morgan Trump interview, and I decided to go 30 minutes early instead of 30 minutes late for Warlord. It's a little late towards the end of the show for him. My bandana's fucked up. Also today on Patreon, if you are a patron, I fucked up doing the freaking news, and I said something incredibly funny, and I put the unedited audio up on Patreon. Got some Ukraine news for me. Hit me with it. We're going to talk a little Ukraine. First of all, this is the worst show I've ever done. I can go ahead and tell you that. We're starting off with 30 minutes. 30 minutes of Donald Trump and ending with 30 minutes of Ben Shapiro. If that is not the worst fucking show ever, I don't know what is. Now, here's the unfortunate part, though. Is Warlord, the link you sent me, I didn't realize it until I'd already come on, because like the countdown was going on. I went and grabbed the link. That is only available in the UK, so I'm going to have to switch my I'm gonna have to switch my VPN. So I'm gonna stall on the stream for a second. So I gotta switch to the UK, a server over there, so we can watch this Piers Morgan fucking interview. It was only released apparently to people in the UK. If you live here in the U.S., I assume you've got to watch it on what, Fox Plus or whatever they're calling their stupid ass streaming service. Okay, so I'm going to hit the server in London. It looks like. I'm probably going to stall out for you guys for a few minutes. Just stick with me. Give it like a minute. I'm not high enough for what we will be doing on this show tonight. We are back. Everything should be good to go. Now on a British server with our VPN, so we should be able to watch the Piers Morgan Donald Trump interview. Let me check and make sure I didn't dump YouTube when I did that. I'd have. Sorry to anybody on YouTube. Might have been watching. Looks like you guys are still good. Looks like you guys are good on YouTube. A lot of times when I switch servers, if it doesn't take too long, YouTube will just keep rolling the same video. And I think that's cool, but if it takes a little too long for it to latch back up to the server, YouTube starts a completely new video. Okay. Here we go. It's already bookmarked for me. Warlord, thank you. You're such a good producer. Already at the start of the Trump interview. Perfect. Oh, your meme of the day. Your stepmom and I think it's time you moved out. Pay for your own Suboxone. Well, I don't even know what this photo is from. Where was it that Lady Gaga took this picture with Biden? I mean, during the inauguration, possibly? I don't... What the fuck? From the current president to the previous president. Here's Morgan! In an interview with Donald Trump. Aired on Monday and Tuesday. He cut it into 2 pieces. Try to get the most out of it. The explosive interview. It might not have been cut in 2 pieces in the UK. I don't know if that's the way they did it, but on Fox, I believe it was cut into 2 pieces. This is the start of the interview. I'm not high enough for this shit. You're not high enough for this shit. Everybody, buckle up.
interesting. It's beautiful. It's complex sometimes. We have a lot of endorsements going out and have gone out. We've done very well on endorsing candidates that I think are very good, and they are very good. And we've taken people from who were not going to win. And now
me any adverts.
You're talking like somebody who feels he has unfinished business.
Well, we did a really good job. We created
No, you didn't.
an economy that was incredible, and now...
No, you didn't. You didn't create an economy that was incredible. You rode Obama's wave, and GDP was stunted under you, sir. Once again, this is going to be hard. 30 minutes of this, I'm going to feel the need to correct his bullshit, and there's just going to be too much of it. It's going to be a complete deluge of bullshit.
Chain problems, inflation problems, gasoline selling for $5, $6, $7. Think of it, a gallon. When I left, it was under $2, and it was largely under $2 for a long period of time. $1.87.
Yeah, during the pandemic, you
$1.67 at one point, and now it's $5, $6, $7, $8, depending on where you are, going up much higher. And we have a war that would have never happened if I was president. That war would have never happened.
When the invasion started, you were quite praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin. You said he was a genius. This was a savvy move. That he was going in as a peacemaker.
He did say that.
Fake news is version, no.
Tell me the truth.
When he built up soldiers on the border, I said, that's very smart, brilliant move, because I thought he was negotiating. When he went in, I said, no longer a brilliant move.
When you see the scenes, Mr. President, of maternity hospitals being
I think it's
bombed,
terrible, yeah.
when you see refugees being attacked as they flee, grandmothers, children, babies, you see the decimation of previously prosperous cities living in a thriving new democracy. When you watch what's happening, I mean, do you agree with my assessment that Vladimir Putin is now an evil, genocidal monster?
Yeah, but I also,
You do?
when I look at, I do, sure. And who wouldn't? What's happening is horrible. When you see...
He got some pretty eyes right now, doesn't he? Like, what's up with
people
that?
in those buildings, you know, they think they're like the people who moved out. They didn't move. They want to stay because they think they're safe in their apartments. Far more people are dead than you think. When I see all the death and all that destruction, and it's such a stupid war because you had a country...
I mean, that we can agree with.
Had problems, lots of problems, but other countries have problems too. It was such a horrible waste to be doing it. You see swings outside, you see playgrounds, you see hospitals. It was a country. And the people were happy. I guess a lot of them were happy because they're certainly fighting for it. But I'll tell you what I really think.
Swings, playgrounds, and hospitals are what make a country. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Non-binary
Isn't
people.
it a shame? All those people are dead, all because of a rigged election. Because if our election wasn't rigged, you would have had nobody dead.
When you said to Putin, don't invade Ukraine, what was his response?
Well, I told him what our response was going to be, and his response was, really? I said, really?
What did you say your response
And
would
you
be?
know what? If he believed me, good, but if he believed me only 5%, he would have said, I'll never do it.
What did you say the response would be?
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that, but it
What?
was a very strong response.
But did you threaten to use, for example, the nuclear capability?
I don't want to talk about
as
it.
he's been doing?
I don't want to talk about that. What I did say is we're going to be very strongly responding if you do that. I also said to President Xi, don't go into Taiwan. And there's going to be a very strong response. They both understood that. They both had the same reaction. Really? Really? I said, really? The thing that may keep him out of Taiwan is how poorly Russia's doing.
Right.
And how vicious it has to be, how horrible it has to be. Because China sees that and nobody wants to see what's happening.
But that's a completely different...
Right now in Ukraine, if you were the president...
Really? 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 Taiwan is a completely different issue than Ukraine. Taiwan is like, it exists in this weird quasi-state where it's independent but also part of China. China wants to reincorporate it into the mainland, but they like their independence. But they want to, unlike Hong Kong, which I believe wants to be... I believe polling shows it wants to be its own autonomous state. I don't think Taiwan wants that. Taiwan wants the in-between. Where they have some control, but yet are still part of China. It's weird. It's weird. It's a more complex issue than I think Trump even fucking understands. He certainly doesn't understand.
Putin uses the N-word. I call it the N-word. He uses the N-word, the nuclear word, all the time. That's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. He uses it on a daily basis. And
nobody else was expecting him to say nuclear.
And as they're afraid, he uses it more and more. That's why he's doing the kind of things he's doing. He's doing them because he thinks nobody.
In Taiwan, they want actual independence?
They're all stupid and they're afraid to talk about it.
I totally agree with you.
Okay?
So what do you do
about it?
instead
of, excuse me, it's a little complicated.
I'm sorry.
Instead of, kowtowing, instead of Biden saying, oh.
Putin uses the N-word. What an amazing graphic on screen.
He's got nuclear weapons. He keeps saying he's got We have better weapons. We have the greatest submarine power in history.
So what would you say and do?
I would say we have far more than you do, far more powerful than you, and you can't use that word ever again. You cannot use the nuclear word ever.
Or what are you going to fucking do, dude? He's got nuclear weapons.
Have problems.
My reading of what you've been saying is that when you were talking to Putin, when you were president and he was talking about potentially invading Ukraine, that you threatened him with your nuclear capability.
I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
Did you threaten to use nuclear?
I don't want to say that. I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
What's your message for Putin now, right now? If you could talk to him, what would you say to him?
I would say it's a shame what you've done. You're killing, I think potentially, look, if these people aren't smart, and they're not, our leaders are not smart. If they're not smart, you're going to end up in a nuclear war. This is just the beginning. This is the beginning. And I've been the best predictor of things ever. Now, it doesn't happen.
Ever.
But if our people aren't smart, you're going to end up in a nuclear war.
So what's your message to him?
I think they're dealing with...
If he's watching this interview, and he will be,
look,
what would you say to him?
I think they're dealing with him incorrectly. I think what they're saying... It's almost like they're speaking with fear, and they don't understand. We have one weapon alone that would destroy everything.
Should Putin get out of Ukraine right now?
They should make a deal, and they can make a deal, and they should do it fast. When people look back on this period of time, we're going to be ashamed at what we've done or what we haven't done to stop this catastrophe. This is a catastrophe. This is, in a way, already a world war.
Has Russia made itself, with this invasion, has it made itself an enemy of the United States?
Well, I think two things have happened. Number one, they've proven to be less powerful than we thought. That's a good thing from our standpoint. But at the same time, they have a second degree of weapon that is very powerful, and nobody can be allowed to use it, talk about it, threaten with it. We have more powerful than them, and there would be no Russia. There would be no Russia, but we don't want to talk about that. But when I watch Biden say, oh, he's got nuclear weapons, we can't do this. You can't do that. I confronted Kim Jong-un.
Can this motherfucker get a history lesson and know about the mutually assured destruction?
What did you say to him?
Well, verbally I confronted him.
Principle or whatever the fuck it's called?
He said, I have a red button on my desk, meaning a nuclear button. I said, I have a red button on my desk.
It's not on his desk.
Bigger and stronger than yours, and mine works. And they said, whoa, nobody's ever talked to us that way. I took a lot of heat when I said that.
When you look back on your term in office, and there may be another one, we'll come to that. When you look back on the 4 years you were president of the United States, it was very polarizing.
When he says no one has ever talked to them that way, what they were meaning were like that stupidly, idiotically, that moronically, that fucking like.
In many ways, you know that. What do you think was your biggest success?
So when you say polarizing, I think it's more polarized now than it ever was.
I don't disagree. Joe Biden said he would unify the country.
Yeah.
There's certainly no.
And you motherfuckers have done everything you can to trash him.
But you know that your own tenure. Let's start with your tenure. We'll come to Joe Biden. But your tenure, 4 years. Give me the one thing that you're proudest of.
I can't say one because there were too many things. But I'll
like
give
what?
You one that's a lot of people don't talk about. But then they say, "Wow, that's true." We started no wars.
Not true. Maybe technically we didn't start them, we escalated.
We didn't have Russia fighting in Ukraine. We didn't have China threatening every day Taiwan. They wouldn't have done it. And Russia would have never gone into Ukraine. Never. No chance.
How can you be sure about that?
I know it. I know my people and I know Putin, and he would have never done it. I think the Afghanistan withdrawal was so incompetent with the 85 billion and the dead soldiers.
Oh, I just noticed Warlord.
Withdrawal. You wanted...
I don't know what's up with the Twitch stream. Sometimes it does weird things.
I took it down.
Your complaint is about the execution of the withdrawal, not the actual decision to withdraw.
Withdraw with strength and with dignity, but I was the one that got it down to 2,000 soldiers.
How would you have done it if you'd still been president?
Number one, very simple. I would have left the military to last. You don't take out the military first. We took out our military first. A child would say you can't do that. We took the military out, and then we had thousands of people that were American people, some of whom are still there. A large number are still there, bigger than people think. I have never seen anything so incompetent. And in my opinion, and by the way, not only the soldiers that were killed, we have horribly, horribly wounded soldiers, and leaving $85 billion of the best equipment in the world, best military equipment
and leaving millions of Afghan women in the hands of the Taliban, who have immediately taken them back to the Dark Ages.
Correct. That's
by trashing their education, trashing their women's rights. I mean, that's an abrogation of a moral duty, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure it is.
Do you think that it fueled Vladimir Putin's ambitions with the Ukraine invasion, seeing what appeared to be America in surrender mode?
Yes, I think that was the reason. I think that's why he did it. When they saw the way we acted in Afghanistan, the way we ran, like surrendered, and again, you have to understand, I had a very strong, very powerful relationship, powerful in the sense that they respected our country and me. There was no games with...
He was a power bottom.
And its leader, who's still their leader, by the way. And they would have never done this.
I agree.
We ran away. He said, hey, this is no longer Trump. I'm going to go in and take you.
But let me
and then it worked out to be not so good.
Right. Uncensored next. Trump and I fall out over who's more honest.
Yeah, I think I'm a very honest man. Because I don't think you're real.
Joe Biden by 6 points and Kamala Harris by 11 points. In other words, you would be re-elected President of the United States. So are you going to run again?
Well, you know, for reasons...
Ain't going to happen. I mean, he's going to run again. He ain't going to get
elected. Let me just say
elected.
this. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy.
So you are going to run?
I love our country.
Oh, shut up, Warlord.
It's going to hell. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy.
So you're going to run?
I'm not
Welcome, Ginger.
I think people are going to be happy. You might even be happy.
If it's you against Joe Biden, if you win the Republican...
Dazzy's Nicks. We're having issues with the Twitch stream, the Twitch chat not showing up on screen. I don't know why.
Anybody, I think you could beat him right now. Our country's a mess. Our country has never been so disrespected. Our borders have never been so open. We've never had in 44 years inflation like we have
If you run again and you win, which could well happen. And I think whoever the Republican candidate, right now, it looks like the Democrats are going to get shellacked in the midterms. It's quite likely whoever is the Republican nominee will end up being president. It could be you again. And for as many people who think that's a great idea, you'll know there are lots of people who think that would be a total nightmare.
Far less.
Far less?
Far less.
Far less. I think people are very angry at this country.
80 fucking million people voted against you.
To do again. We didn't need their vote because, again, we won the election by...
I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I voted against you, specifically.
One of the other questions about potentially running again is you've been in that pressure cauldron of the White House with your family. They've all come under huge attack.
I do want to point out, I didn't put this story on the list, but there is like polling that shows there is a appetite for a third-party candidate. Apparently 56% of respondents, 57%, something said that they would vote third-party if presented with a Trump-Biden option again. Not good for Democrats. I don't see a viable third-party option because, like, the Libertarians are going to put up anybody that's going to be worth a shit. What's the Green Party going to fucking do? The DSA has got national exposure. There's no chance. In order for a third party to win in 2024, they would have had to have, started their ground game back in 2015. It's just unfeasible.
The children.
The Justin Party. I'd vote for Vermin. I want my pony.
To put them back in there, would they be happy to be back in there?
Well, I won't get into that, but I will tell you they all love the country, and we did a great job.
and it's been a tumultuous time for the world, for the country, there is a chance that you're going to be running. Quite clearly, you've made that clear in this interview.
I don't think I've made it clear.
You said people are going to be happy.
I think that's it, but I think people are going to be very happy. I don't know. There'll be people unhappy, but I think people are going to be very happy.
I would be happy if you contracted COVID again, sir, and then we're on.
Trump dies of COVID watch.
I hope you didn't get your booster.
To those who don't like you, there's people out there that don't like you. I know you said recently that you were very popular, and I think you said you were the most honest man in the world last week.
I'm a very honest man.
Was that true?
Yeah, I think I'm a very honest man. That's
But
true.
to those who don't like you...
Much more honest than you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty honest.
Because I don't think you're real.
Really?
But, yeah, I think I'm a much more honest person.
Everybody fucking around him's got COVID.
I'm not real.
But we're not going to get into that. Let's finish up the interview. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
My question was this. What message do you have to people who can't think of anything worse than you running again and will be distressed about it? Would you come back, with all the experience you've had of being president, would you come back a different person? Would you do things a bit differently?
So I like this.
He would be worse.
In a certain way, because I came in and I was attacked from day one. Unfairly. Russia was a hoax. The impeachment hoax, number one. Number two, it was all a big hoax. The Mueller report. And I had to fight back, and I had to fight back strongly. And if I didn't fight back strongly, I wouldn't have survived. And I say it, and I say it loud. I had two jobs to do. Run the country really well. And
Okay, with all the revelations that we've had about Senator Mitch McConnell, who apparently hates Donald Trump and was very happy with the events of January 6th because he thought Trump was going to be out of the picture following January 6th, I can say that the biggest reason why you were able to survive is because Mitch McConnell didn't put his full weight behind impeaching you. I like learning the revelations that we learned about Mitch McConnell in the past week or two. Dealing with January 6th, it just boggled my mind that he voted not to impeach Trump the second time after January 6th. Encourage the caucus to vote however they feel.
the second was to survive. No other president went through this fate.
Kozak.
I only ask you, when we did
Welcome. Thank you for being a freaking follower.
I really enjoyed. And it was good. Yeah. When I did that with you, I saw a very different Donald Trump in the boardrooms for those hours every night. You were, you weren't as aggressive and confrontational.
Except I wasn't under siege with phony Russia hunts.
And by the way, I agree with you, but the Russia collusion thing was ridiculous.
No, and many others.
Right. But my point is, if you got a chance again, would we see more of that Donald Trump, do you think?
Depends on how you're greeted. But if you're greeted unfairly, you have to...
Not high enough for this shit.
I would like
Kozak.
that. I would much prefer that, but it depends.
I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
But I would do, and I say this, our country's in trouble. Something has to happen. And if it doesn't happen, and if we don't have smart leadership, you're going to end up with no world. The world is going to be blown to pieces. We have stupid people now running our country. The world is going to be blown to pieces.
Well, that's a cheery thought, isn't it? And a ferocious verdict on the United States under President Joe Biden in his first term in the Oval Office. But what about Britain under the leadership of Boris Johnson? And why did Johnson cancel my interview with Trump a few days before his 2019 UK election?
We got a little more here.
There's some interesting answers. But first, Trump's utterly withering verdict on former German Chancellor Angela Merkel. They never got on well. And perhaps you can now understand why.
Well, Merkel is a smart woman.
Merkel in Germany for being so energy dependent on Russia. You've been completely vindicated about Angela Merkel.
Right.
In fact, her reputation is getting...
That is correct, Scrabby.
This conflict goes on.
It should be shattered. She should have never done it. I had it out with her. I sent her the white flag of surrender. I sent her a white flag. It was in the form of a large...
You sent her one?
Oh, yeah. I had it brought right over to her at a different table. I said, it's the white flag of surrender. She said, but what do you mean? I said, you are dependent on Russia for energy. You must be kidding. I mean, just look at the history of Germany and Russia. When it happens, you might as well just do me a favor.
He tried his best to go full-blown tyrannical when he was in there the first time.
Luxurious napkin. Okay?
Where was it?
And I sent it.
Where did you do it?
At one of the meetings, at one of our many meetings we had with, between the G7, the G20, you have all the different Gs. But I said,
Still the same old G.
you're going to be someday in a problem with Russia, and you are going to have no choice but to surrender because
And the new German leader has done a complete U-turn. He recognized that what you were saying then was completely correct.
But who wouldn't recognize? I also think that when she took in millions of people, she hurt Germany very badly. Millions of people flowed through Europe.
When she took in refugees from war-torn countries, the
Resettling
U.S.
them someplace and spending money
had demolished.
settling in their area where they would rather be anyway. The war forced them out. Bush got us into that mess in the Middle East. Bush has done a tremendous disservice.
I had seen something about that porg, but I'd not read the story.
December 2019, just before the pandemic, in London, and at the last minute you cancelled my interview because of an intervention from the British Prime Minister, I believe.
Well, that's true. I mean, you knew that, and I was over there as his guest. So if he asks me not to do that, I have to do that. We have had...
Why didn't he want you to talk to me?
I don't know. I didn't even...
The UK election was a few days later.
Yeah.
I was told it was because he was worried that between us we might create something that may cost him the election.
Well, I like him, and I've always liked him. I think he's getting a little bit liberal. He's getting a little bit green.
Uncensored next Sparks Flyers. Things are going to get a lot...
Boris under fire still for his handling of COVID restrictions. There's also, if you didn't check out the freaking news today, the whole story about members of parliament watching porn in front of their colleagues. There's an investigation that has been launched into the Conservatives in Parliament in the UK over sexual harassment.
But he categorically did not win the 2020 election. He lost. Joe Biden won. And Trump's been a really, really sore loser ever since. I also believe his refusal to admit defeat...
That's an understatement, Piers.
...perhaps incited a violent mob to descend on the US Capitol on January the 6th, 2021, some of the most shocking scenes American democracy has ever witnessed. I was appalled by these scenes, and I've always felt that Trump should have taken more responsibility for what was unequivocally an attempt to prevent the peaceful handover of power after a democratic election. Here's what I said at the time. He didn't just cross the line. He trampled all over that line, and he's now a threat to American democracy. And to those who warned this was what was going to happen with Trump, you've been proven right. I stand by that.
And then you sit down with him, suck him off, talk about how he's likely to be the next president. Jesus Christ, have some self-awareness, sir. But he stands by his comments.
And I put it directly to the former president. The things I'm not happy about with the presidency, I'll be completely straight with you, to your face. One of them is what happened on January the 6th, which was a result of you refusing to accept the result of the election.
Before you start this,
okay.
Look, Nancy Pelosi is in charge of security. She didn't do her job.
She's half in charge of it. So the Republicans
not true.
and the Democrats have equal share of
the
that.
mayor of D.C. and Nancy Pelosi are in charge
Actually,
of
the Republicans and the Democrats have 50-50. But she was actually cowering for terror in fear of her life that day, because there was a huge mob of people who were attacking the centre of democracy in America. I want to
at Trump's behest.
The Senate Minority
Well,
Leader.
Mitch McConnell is
I know.
not a good representative.
You can respond to what he
this,
says, but he still remains.
Party.
He remains the senior Republican.
Unfortunately.
Okay, but he is right now. Okay?
We'll see what happens.
Okay, fair enough. But he said this. He's acknowledged that Joe Biden was the legitimate winner of the 2020 election. He's rejected your claims of fraud. And he said about January the 6th, we were all there. We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power after a legitimately certified election from one administration to the next. That's what it was. He told this to the Senate on February the 13th last year. Former President Trump's actions preceding the riot were a disgraceful dereliction.
I mean, Piers, it's not Piers' country that,
there's no question
this motherfucker is going to ruin.
And morally responsible for provoking the events of that day. Yeah. And even this, he said about the rioters.
Piers is acting in his best interest in getting the interview.
Falsehoods by the most powerful man on earth because he was angry he'd lost an election.
Okay. Number one, He knew nothing about what took place in the election. The press hates to write about it, but that election was rigged and it was stolen.
Bullshit. YouTube. That's a lie.
A little bit. And you know, it's funny. When a Hillary Clinton or when Stacey Abrams says, oh, the election was rigged, nobody says anything. But when Trump says it, but the difference is I have proof. And we have massive.
Well, Pierce should be saying right now, like, there is no evidence, 60-something court cases.
That took place.
Let me ask you this.
Millions
you
of
said
votes.
to me once that if you talk the talk, and you're a great talker, I've seen that today, if you talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. In the context of your claim about the fraudulent election, it's been 14 months, and we've not seen this hard evidence of the fraud that you say happened.
The press won't report it. The press.
You haven't produced
This is like a communist country.
Where is the proof?
It's all over the place. We have.
It's not.
So
I've read
much
everything. Can I just put another thing to you? Because I've watched this whole debate, Rage, and you've been completely unflagging in your refusal to accept defeat. And
you know why, though? You know why? Because if our country doesn't have fair and free elections, and if our country doesn't have borders, we don't have a country.
Okay.
We have crooked, corrupt elections.
But here's what I would say to you.
And I've proven it.
Here's what I would say to you.
I was ready for crooked Hillary after he's crooked.
You lost.
You don't really believe
That's
that?
my belief.
All right, well, then you're a fool.
I'm looking for the hits there.
Maybe I am a fool. Maybe I'm the fool in this conversation about
And
it.
you're a
But-
fool and you haven't studied it.
Okay, I have studied it. Well, maybe I am a fool, but of course I've studied it. I've read a lot about what happened with the 2020 election, and I've seen no hard evidence, like I told him, that there was substantial voter fraud. Nobody has seen that. But the bottom
You
line...
saying that it's still going?
Trump seems to me to be fighting on the wrong hill about why he was treated unfairly in 2020. There's another argument that he could produce, which I think has a lot more merit. Just 3 weeks before the election, the New York Post published a sensational front-page story.
Oh, the Hunter Biden bullshit.
Joe Biden. Emails found on Hunter's abandoned laptop contained proof that he sold influence while...
See, once again, so Piers is going to ask him about Hunter Biden's laptop, but not Jared Kushner's fucking deal with the Saudis. That's journalistic malpractice.
Blocking the Post scoop. They even stopped the Post having an account. And mainstream media dismissed it all as Russian disinformation. So none of them reported it properly. And some believe that if they
Apparently, right-wingers are claiming that Elon Musk is already restoring accounts. He's not restored mine yet.
Known about this
We'll watch a video on that here in a little bit.
Scrutinized this story. If it hadn't been so wrongly censored, then they might have voted differently or stayed at home. I put this to President Trump.
Wow.
There is another twist in this tale where I think you're on much stronger ground and where I would agree with you, and that is the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, which is what it's become. And it could lead right to the top with Joe Biden. We don't know yet. But it seems to me that the way that mainstream media and the tech giants conspired to suppress that story, literally removing it from social media platforms,
17
not
points.
reporting it, not chasing it, 50 senior people coming out saying this
What
was
story?
all complete nonsense. There is a belief that that could have swung the election your way. In other words, when you talk about having a stolen election, actually you're on better ground, it seems to me, with the Hunter Biden
Are you
laptop
ready?
story.
They say it made a 17-point difference.
Bullshit.
Even without that.
Bullshit. That's what I say.
It was so corrupt in Wisconsin that they're saying, what do we do? They don't know what to do. They caught him. So only a fool.
Wisconsin.
Only a fool would think that was a legitimate.
You think I'm a fool?
I do now, yeah.
Frank Sinatra said the best revenge is massive success. Isn't your best revenge?
The idea is that there's some shady business dealings with China, that the laptop contains information that proves that Joe Biden was on the take from the Chinese Communist Party, that's the way the right-wingers would say it, and that Hunter was actually funneling money to his dad. That is the scandal, according to right-wingers. There's no evidence of any of that.
Talking constantly about the last
I don't
election.
talk constantly, but you brought it up.
You
I
do,
didn't.
you do.
You brought it
Come
up.
on, eat away.
Excuse me. You brought it up. I didn't. I don't talk about it very much. I do say it was rigged.
Oh, you haven't had a working fridge? Oh, wow. I can't imagine what that's like.
Stupid. And he shouldn't have allowed it to happen.
Mitch McConnell is stupid.
But if you look at the results and if you look at what happened, but even you sitting here saying, well, that doesn't matter. But the
No,
law,
I think
the
facts
law
matter.
is, look,
I think
the
facts
law
matter.
is even the
President, with
numbers.
respect, your own Vice President, Mike Pence, says you lost the election.
Mike was
The
foolish.
head of the Republicans
Mike
in the
was
Senate
foolish.
says you lost it.
Mike was foolish, and he was weak.
Weak.
Incredible thing to say about Mike Pence, someone who was probably the most loyal vice president and most supportive vice president
This is like
in American political history.
if I was Donald Trump, it's in my rider that like you can't edit this interview the way you have, Piers. Like this, insane that he let them do that. Like he's so guarded with giving interviews. He must really, really trust Piers.
But no, because he doesn't think that election was rigged or stolen, he too gets thrown under the bus. Well, that was the end of part one of my extraordinary interview with Donald Trump. On tomorrow's Piers Morgan Uncensored, we'll show part two, which contains a number of further...
Oh, wait, we don't have part
revelations.
two?
So the President and I didn't agree about everything.
Ah, shit. Is it on your website? One we just watched? What? April 25th, April 26th. This is the one we want. Hold on. Here's Morgan Uncensored. Wow, I thought this was only about a half hour. I thought it was. The entire interview was about 20 minutes, 22 minutes or something. But Piers has just cut it up. And okay, it's going to take us forever to get through this. And we've still got 30 minutes of goddamn Ben Shapiro.
We did agree about was the royal family. The former president didn't hold back, calling him wit, lavishing praise on the Queen, and giving his thoughts on the future of the monarchy and the Prince Andrew scandal. But first, I started by asking him about that historic state visit.
You know, I met the Queen.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be for 20 minutes.
I saw you just after you saw her.
Right. It was supposed to be just a quick meeting, and it was beautiful, the pomp and ceremony. Nobody does it like the English. I don't know what it is, but nobody does it like
We have a
it.
certain,
But
style.
I met her, and it turned out to
Yeah, he wants that kind of fucking
she liked me, and I liked her.
ceremony for
Let it be
himself.
known she liked me, and I let it be known. I
I've
liked
had
her.
other members of the royal family tell me they enjoyed your company.
We had a great time, and then they honored the United States, but they honored me that night, which is really the honor of the country. And it was at the top level, and I sat next to her. We talked the whole night. And somebody said, we've never seen her smile so much. We had a great time. She was laughing and smiling. They said they've never seen her have such a good time at a state dinner. You know, normally they're...
I assume she's old and senile. I mean, she's already dead, right? They're just weekend burning her.
I think she's incredible. Look at her. She's been queen for, 70 years or something, and she's never made a mistake. Even when the guy broke into her room, sits him down, talks to him, quietly does what... Everything she's done...
She's never made a mistake. She has a child that's a fucking pedophile. Are you telling me that's not a mistake?
Now, some of the kids, it's, they make a little mistake every once in a while, sometimes a big one.
What did you make of
this
the
woman?
Prince Andrew scandal?
Well, it was a terrible thing. It was a, terrible thing. I think terrible for a lot of people. But the Queen, I don't know, has she ever even made a mistake? She's an incredible woman. I'm not a fan of Meghan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. And I wasn't right from the beginning.
What did you make
and
of
I
what
think,
she...
Of course not.
Poor Harry is being led around by his nose. And I think he's an embarrassment.
Here's my issue with it. I think that they've quit the country.
This is something they can definitely agree on. Oh, we both hate Meghan Markle.
They want to use their royal titles to exploit them for massive financial gain without any of the duty that comes with the royal titles. I don't think you can have your royal cake and eat it. That's my argument about it.
So I
Wow.
when Harry decides he's had enough of being bossed around, or maybe when she decides that she likes some other guy better, I want to know what's going to happen when it ends. Okay?
You think it's going to end?
I do. I've been a very good predictor, as you know. I predicted almost...
He wants to be invited back to the castle.
It'll end bad.
Yes.
And I wonder if Harry's going to go back on his hands and knees back into the beautiful city of London and say, please, I think Harry has been led down a path.
I found it when I heard he wasn't going to Prince Philip's memorial.
Yeah, there's another one there, Ida.
I found that. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah,
that he would not go to that. He was
having Princess Diana killed. That's probably a mistake, right?
find time to get on a plane.
Allegedly.
Terrible thing. Many terrible things. That might have been, as you mentioned it, that might have been.
What do you think, Warlord? Was the Crown involved in that?
He was, like her, he was a tough cookie too. I remember years ago, Prince Philip came to New York, and we were in the Plaza Hotel, and there were many.
You would say that.
And we were all taking a picture with him, many people, and the photographers said, I'll never forget this. He was tough. The photographer said, please move back. There were like 30 of us. And he said, no, you move back. And that was simple. I said, that's pretty good. This guy's tough. But I'll never forget that. I don't mean that in a derogatory. I mean it
He
in
was
a
direct.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Instead of having this whole group of people moving back, plenty of room, the photographer, and he immediately moved back. I said, wow. I mean, the Queen had to be pretty tough because
I think she was.
he was tough.
When he died, I think it was a devastating moment for the Queen.
I think they had a great relationship, but he was a strong guy. I never forget, a little moment, right? He just said, no, you move back. And he didn't say it in a nice way because the photographer was pushing everybody around a little bit foolishly. But
Ooh, wasn't he nodded like his idol, Jimmy Savile?
he didn't go to the funeral of Prince Philip. Yeah, I think the Harry situation is going to unfold.
Hey, I'm not going to make fun of somebody for not being able to remember
If you were the
shit,
Queen,
because...
is it at the stage now? Would you remove their royal title?
I would. The only thing I disagree with the Queen on, probably one of the only things ever,
Savile.
is that I think she should have said, if that's your choice, fine. But
I know it's like Savile or something is the way you assholes say
don't
it.
come around. You just, because her loyalty is to the country. She said that many times. Her loyalty is to the country. And I think that he has been so disrespectful to the country, and it's a great country. I own a lot of things there. I own a place called Turnberry.
You do?
And in Aberdeen I own. And I mean, we have Aberdeen.
Does he actually own that golf course? A lot of his courses are just like,
And I own
like
things there, and I love that country.
leased or
It's
something,
incredible.
aren't they?
So Scotland, I love Turnberry. I love what I did there. I built things there.
It's a great golf course.
And I respect great, one of the best in the world. And I will tell you, she is more passionate about her role and the country. It's going to be very interesting. Someday she won't be there.
Right.
It'll be very interesting what happens.
Well, who is he even talking about now? I'm so fucking confused. Is he talking about Meghan?
And I know Charles pretty well. And I think Charles...
And Camilla, I think you sat with her.
I do. And I'll tell you what, she was on my right, the Queen was on my left, and I said, Queen, I really have to talk to Camilla for a little while, too. We couldn't break apart. And I talked to Camilla, and Camilla was so nice. Different than I thought. She was funny, she was smart, quick.
I really like
She
it.
was good.
What
I like
what
it
did
too.
you think she was going to be like, Trump?
Charles, I mean, he's
Do
serious.
you think they'll make a good king and queen when that time comes?
I hope so. I think it's going to be tricky.
Worcestershire
It's
sauce.
going to have to be.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be tricky because they are
It
truly.
was the best of shires. It was the worst of
This
shires.
woman.
I love Worcestershire sauce.
Record of
Is she
any
the
country.
greatest? I mean, in your
I should have never watched how that shit was made, though, because holy shit,
So my
that's
mother
disgusting.
was born in Scotland,
Yeah.
and I remember as a little boy, anything where the Queen was on, anything at all and it was the pomp and ceremony. But my mother had tremendous love and respect for the young Queen.
He wants to be treated like
would have been
royalty.
okay
He
when she
wants
got
that
married,
treatment.
right?
I was
the mid-50s, yeah.
but my mother wouldn't leave the screen.
Amazing.
And she'd go back to Scotland almost every year.
Whereas, where I have the opinion that anyone that tries to call themselves royalty, monarchy, any kind of ruler, needs to be given the French Revolution treatment.
She loved Scotland. But she loved the Queen, and so does everybody. And for this person to come along and criticize the Queen is just.
Yeah, I've heard the Queen's all right, but still, I stand behind my previous statement about people that call themselves royalty.
I won't use the full expression, but Harry is whipped like no person I think I've ever seen.
The most
I think
man in the world.
he means pussy whipped. He means that Harry is pussy whipped by Meghan Markle
You live in sexual anarchy?
Hey, that's not even sexual anarchy. That's the opposite of sexual anarchy. I don't even know why I hit that. I just wanted to see Charlie Kirk's little face.
Says, I don't know, that's going to be a big one, but he is a whipped man, yeah.
Uncensored next, Trump's answer to a simple question. What is a woman? And I'll
Oh, God.
with the full backing of the woke brigade.
Right now.
And how much
Well, woke brigade, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put up the content warning for this because it's probably going to be some transphobic bullshit.
do you think,
Our
how much do you
country's in
think the cancel culture woke debate is now beginning to really damage the Democrats? And I'll give you the example that's been raging recently. This whole issue of transgender athletes in sport, for example, in women's.
It's just animating bigots.
I think it's grotesquely unfair.
It is.
You know, you can support trans rights to equality and fairness, but also understand that what's going on in sport is inherently unfair and unjust and unequal. Is that your position?
People see it and they won't put up with it. They had a weightlifter where the record was for 11 or 12 years, and they'd put a half an ounce on each side, and the woman would lift. A guy comes along and breaks the record by numbers that you wouldn't.
Boris Johnson came out recently.
I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about there.
Biological males, people born with biological male bodies who transition, he would ban them from then competing in women's sport.
Good.
Do you agree with that?
I do. I agreed with it long before anybody else. I think it's ridiculous, and it's sad, and it's bad for the Democrats because they're not going to do that.
One of the
Well,
big
yeah, because
politicians right now.
Democrats at least
what is a-
nominally care about
I'm
protecting
not gonna respond to the
marginalized
question,
communities.
but a woman is somebody that swims at a certain time and doesn't get beaten by 38 seconds by somebody that wasn't even a good swimmer as a male.
There's been much.
What he just said was false. By the way, Leah Thomas is still like 30 seconds off of the women's record. Leah Thomas, when she was competing as a male, was about 30 seconds off of the male record. They like to say that shit. Like ranked 700, whatever the fuck it was, as a freshman. Yeah, that's usually the way it goes. Freshmen are usually ranked low. And then as they progress through their collegiate career, they get ranked higher. It's so wild that they don't even know how sports work, and they want to have these ill-informed opinions. But at least that was short and painless, I think.
Speculation about whether Donald Trump stomped off out of our interview. I plan to resolve that tonight and show you exactly what happened. But before all this,
You were
remember the most talked about.
what the speculation that he stomped off in the interview was created by you, Piers. You created that speculation.
TV walkout before, because that involved me.
Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
So, do you know what? That's
You
pathetic.
can track him, maybe not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't
This
do
is
this.
absolutely diabolical behaviour.
It certainly was by him. But shortly after that, I lost my job for having an opinion, and President Trump, it turned out, watched it all go down. Let's talk about censorship. My show is called Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Okay?
You like the title?
This really is just them jacking each other off.
Well,
You've known me a long
for
time.
you, it's a good title. I don't think you can avoid it.
No.
So it's an accurate title. I don't think if they told you to...
Well, sir, when you were talking about Meghan Markle, why didn't you say that Harry was pussy whipped then? If it's Piers Morgan Uncensored.
behave yourself, you can't. So
Exactly.
it's probably a very accurate title.
I chose the title because I lost my last job.
Yeah, I saw that.
At the Good Morning Britain show.
I thought you overreacted, by the way.
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
I mean, the guy was a stiff.
Oh, no, it wasn't about him.
You didn't have to do.
It wasn't actually about the walkout. So here's
You
what
made it about him. He
Well,
probably got a nice raise.
You're right about that. But here's what happened. So I watched the Oprah Winfrey interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, and I'm angry watching it. I think
And you were right to be.
I thought the attacks on the royal family were disgraceful.
I agree.
And unsubstantiated. I'm calling them a bunch of.
By the way,
callous-
I agree with you.
So it's an interview with the royal family, and they're airing their grievances with their family, and Piers frames that as an attack on the royal that's weird. Ooh, the royal family is attacking itself, apparently. And Piers Morgan thinks that's an affront to something. But also, I don't know, you British are weird about your royal people.
Right. I'm a big fan of the Queen.
So let me ask you what you would have done then. So then it turns out Meghan Markle writes to my boss at ITV and basically demands my head on a plate. Yeah. And the next day I'm told I've either got to apologise for disbelieving her, or I had to lose my...
Warlord, was it actually Meghan Markle? Did she contact the station, or is Piers just saying that? I know nothing about this situation.
Job. Now, what would you have done?
I would have left, but I wouldn't have attacked the weatherman. You know, he wasn't worth it.
Well, I didn't attack him. I left the room.
Well, you did. No, you attacked him. He attacked you, and then I would have handled it differently, but that's okay, you know.
But would you have apologised? I've known you a long time. Would you have apologised?
Well, I thought you were right about the thing. I just
BBC and their pedophile statues.
I think you're not wrong about. I shouldn't have walked off.
I don't know if you're going to leave this on your interview, but
we're going to leave it on.
Oh, she said she
I don't want to insult you.
The show is called Piers Morgan Uncensored. Yeah. You're allowed to have your opinion. Part of what happened to me was this issue of censorship and free speech. You've had a taste of this by being removed from Twitter, which was a great platform for you. You were very popular on it, and you were very entertaining on it, depending on your...
Oh, I did miss the joke. I'm sorry.
I used to cheer up a boring...
That's what she said jokes kind of don't work over text. Warlord. But I appreciate the effort.
And Twitter is now boring.
Well, do you miss being on
Twitter? Is boring. So, Tones, welcome.
I think it's going to be very big. I think it's going to be very successful.
Sassy, I don't know if I said hi to you.
But we need a voice. The good news is I have a voice because I do interviews with you and other
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Not friends of yourself. Mm-hmm. Some you know very well, right? And some you respect a lot and some you don't. Yeah. But I'm able to get my voice out. But Twitter, what they're doing is really horrible.
Now a boring company.
Which I think are really contentious. One, they've continued to ban you from the platform, but they allow Vladimir Putin to have a Twitter account. They allow the Supreme Leader of Iran to have a Twitter account. They allow a number of Taliban leaders to have a Twitter account. I don't see how they can square off allowing those people to have their platform.
You know what?
None of them incited an insurrection against the United States.
I believe that. They're sick people. And our country is going to hell. Right now, our country is going to hell. We have an invasion at the southern border and beyond, but we have an invasion coming in. This is bigger than any army is coming in. And it's not 2 million people. I believe it's 10 or 12 million people a year. At the end of Biden's term, I think you'll have 30 to 40 to 50 million people will have come into our country. Many of these people are not people...
They're just going to keep upping the number the closer we get to the election. The more people that are coming over the border.
You know, last week we had 129 countries represented. It's no longer Honduras and Guatemala and Mexico and, the area. They think like, they're coming in from El Salvador.
From Haiti, from Ukraine. There are Ukrainians coming in from the southern border.
And this is allowed to go on. And the media doesn't want to talk about it. If you turn on to NBC fake news or CBS fake news, any of them, CNN, which is, totally fake. If you turn on to, they don't even talk about the border. They rarely talk about the border. Such an important thing, and they rarely talk. Our country is being invaded, and we do nothing about it. I believe, and we'll finish up with this, but I believe our country has never been at a lower point. We had the strongest border in the world. We had the strongest border we've ever had. And now we have the weakest border.
Yeah, we're at a pretty low point after the last president.
Inflation that's destroying. Inflation, if you're like in real estate, like I am and was, if you're in real estate, inflation is a wonderful thing until everything explodes.
Here's the big... Now, how could I not talk about exactly how our incredible interview...
I was arguing with somebody on Twitter last night. They were a serviceman. Apparently, they were following me, and they saw something I said about the U.S. military, and it pissed them off. And they wanted to say something to me about it. And they kept talking about how great the U.S. military was, and I said, well, what was the civilian casualty rate over the last 20 years? And they never answered the question. I was like, civilian casualty rate in the last 20 years. For those of you who don't know, it's 78%. 78% of the people killed by the United States military in the last 20 years have been civilians. I even showed them stories of us drone strike. That was the other thing. They told me that I didn't know about drone strikes and that we were saving the world with drone strikes. This person was incredibly dumb. And I showed them where the U.S. had drone strike a Doctors Without Borders facility. They told me it was fake news. They told me that a 78% civilian casualty rate by the U.S. military was fake news. It's just what they say automatically.
View finally ended. After all, it's made global headlines because apparently the promo was rigged. Donald Trump himself issued 2 statements branding it fake news. Well, here's what really happened. It is true that I had a lot longer with him than I'd been promised, nearly 3 times as long, in fact. But whenever I've interviewed Trump in the past, you buy as much time as you can, and he stays as long as he wants. That's how the system works. The real problem, it seemed to me, was that he was already simmering with anger about the confrontation over the alleged stolen election, where I didn't agree with him, but also that he's
You guys were friendly with each other the whole time. Come on. And let's see the ending. Trump released the audio. Let's see the ending where you guys are incredibly cordial.
Was incredibly irritating and incompetent as he tried to stop the interview.
What do you think?
We're an hour in.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just wrapping up.
And this is the last question.
Yeah.
One last question.
That's it.
No, yeah.
You got last question 4 times.
No, I realise that.
You're lying.
He just didn't know how to do it, so I just carried on. There's been so much frenzied speculation and hyperbole about all that, but the truth is, Trump clearly left very irritated. Partly, I think, about our confrontation, partly about the fact he'd been sent this secret dossier of stuff I'd written about him before, but I think mainly because of his incredibly incompetent director of communications. Or should I say...
Because of his fragile little ego?
This is the same Taylor who tweeted this about me. Pathetic. Failure. I'm not so sure you should be issuing those kind of statements, Taylor, given your own pathetic and failed attempt to stop this interview from ending. All I know is because of your ineptitude, your boss, President Trump, wasn't very happy. And I would say that's more of a problem for your employment status than it is for me and my show. But in the interest...
So Trump's handler was the reason why Trump was upset. Piers Morgan is a narcissist, right?
...a full transparency, because, to be honest with you, it's quite fun to watch what goes on behind the scenes. We'd normally have cut this out, but I'm going to show it all in real time. Because right in the middle of all this, we start talking about Donald Trump's hole-in-one at golf, which is a bit nuts, but that's the way these things sometimes go down. It started with
It's not how these things sometimes go down. You were trying to keep him on the hook, so you asked him about something that you knew he would want to talk about. That's all that was, Piers. What are you... Jeez.
Angle about COVID, it moves into golf, and in the middle of it, all hell breaks loose. Take a watch.
Great
Are you
job.
glad that the vaccine program worked? I know that I was surprised, I'll be honest, but I was pleasantly surprised that you came out and said that you'd not only been fully vaccinated, but you thought other people should be too.
Well, we saved tens of millions of lives. Maybe this would have been the Spanish flu of 1917 had we not come up. And I got it done in 9 months.
I would like to point out to you guys, more people in the United States have died of COVID than the 1918 flu. More people in the United States have died of COVID than the 1918 flu. He just said, "Oh, could have been the 1918 flu," which I find amazing to me, because we were a more sparse, dispersed population back in 1918. We weren't interacting, we weren't as interconnected, and we didn't have the medical advancements that we have now. It amazes me that more people have died of COVID in the United States than in the 1918 flu. And I think that is the big a chunk of that responsibility lies on your shoulders and your ineptitude and how you handled the pandemic, you piece of shit. Yes, that left me speechless.
Months as opposed to they were projecting from 5 to 12 years. I got it done in 9 months, so I'm very proud of it.
You were great.
I'm against mandates,
right?
Strongly against mandates, but I'm very proud of what we did. I saved worldwide tens of millions of lives.
One last question.
Do you accept that early on in the pandemic that you didn't take it seriously enough, or you were being told how serious it was?
No, I don't accept. I
You
don't
weren't
accept
sharing
it.
that with the American people.
I'm a cheerleader for this country. I want to be positive for this country. I take everything seriously, and I took that very seriously. But I'm a cheerleader for the country, and our country came out of it better than anybody else. We've done a great job.
A final question, President Trump. It's been good to catch up with you after this lengthy time. I haven't mentioned...
That's it.
No, yeah.
Last question 4 times.
No, I realise
You're
that.
lying.
675,000 people died of the 1918 flu. By the way, they call it the Spanish flu. It originated in Kansas. It originated in the United States. There have been 991,000 deaths from COVID.
I realise that I'm not like...
Very
I
dissent.
just haven't asked you
You're
about...
very dissent. This was
No.
this was a 20-minute interview.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
It's
this was a
been fantastic
20-minute
interview,
interview.
don't you think?
I think it's fine. It's fine.
I haven't asked
it's
about...
fantastic in your opinion.
I wanted to end with the hole-in-one. I just haven't asked about the hole-in-one. Do you want to...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You recently got a hole-in-one playing...
No, I am going to take this shot right here. And I'm going to Photoshop out in one, so it just looks like Trump said, my hole. Red Crochet! Welcome. Oh, we've got a raid. Fuck yeah. Welcome, Raiders. My name is Justin FREAKIN. This is the Troll Patrol. I do the nightly news. Usually we're doing a rundown of what's going on. But I got a request yesterday from the stream that we watch this Trump interview in full. We're coming up on the end of it. We're right at the end where Piers Morgan has his little exchange. He's asking about the hole-in-one. And then it gets a little testy, apparently. Thank you for the raid. Hilda Beast. Welcome. I hope you had a fantastic stream.
Very powerful. And I made it with him and actually 3 other tour pros. And it was quite a thrill.
Talk me through the shot.
Well, I hit the ball.
Talk me through the shot.
It felt good. The wind was blowing hard into my face. It was a 5-iron that went 181 yards. And it went
I wish I could forget
right
that he
into the hole.
existed.
It landed on the green in one bounce, and it went clank. And Ernie...
Once again, I didn't want to do this. I just played a clip from the interview. Warlord's like, let's watch the whole interview. So blame Warlord for the fact that we are watching this right now.
He was a low-key guy. One of the reasons he's acceptable, the Big Easy, right? But Ernie and the other pros started jumping up and down in the air. And I said, why are you guys so excited? He says, because we don't see hole-in-ones.
I am not high enough for this
One
shit.
every 3 tournaments, and then you have to be in the group. So it's rare.
Have you had one before?
I've had 7. This was the 7th.
7 hole-in-one?
Yeah, 7. This was my 7th, which isn't
Out.
a high number, believe it or not. If somebody plays golf, I hear the record is 49. Okay, people
Did you
have,
buy a round of drink?
One in my hole.
I don't know, but I would certainly have been happy to.
When
It
you
was
don't
good.
drink.
I don't drink, no.
Well, I can do that as well.
That is true. That is true.
Did you do that?
Probably happened. I didn't check, but probably happened because I own the club. I'm sure it happened.
Congratulations on the hole-in-one.
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you for a great interview.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much. I'm really...
Yeah, that's fine.
Turn the camera off.
Yeah, it's fine. Even Trump, who's always like, that's the greatest of all time. Everything involving him is the greatest of all time. Even Trump was like, yeah, that's fine.
I wouldn't have called our promo a rigged promo. You did leave pretty angry. It certainly wasn't a happy ending. And frankly, I'm a bit disappointed about that because I did...
No, you're a fucking lying sack of shit, Piers Morgan. I'll give him another couple minutes to wrap up what he's saying.
think it was a brilliant interview. We agreed on a number of issues. We disagreed vehemently about others, but you were extremely entertaining, very direct in some of the...
He is always extremely entertaining, yes.
...headlines around the world. And I just hope that now you've seen the whole thing in totality, we can put our little spat behind us. You can park your two statements, perhaps, to a little...
Here's another thing that I think Piers Morgan should have asked about. Asked Trump if he was boosted. Trump had previously said that he would not take the booster. I'm hoping he didn't, and that we are once again on...
Trump dies of COVID watch.
Yes, now on to the real news. Unfortunately, we've got to end the show with 30 minutes of Ben Shapiro, so I apologize in advance. However, I found one of the cutest fucking animal videos I could to end the show with. We'll see a pity, I think, wants to go to Whataburger. Socrates around? He was in bed when I was getting ready. Hold on, let me run in there and get Sock. Your presence was requested on stream. He is not happy about this. You want a Maynard too? He was in there next to Socks. Mr. Maynard also not happy about this, and he saw me coming and tried to run. Buddy. Let me just grab Smokey just because, since he's the only one I haven't seen. Come here, buddy. What's up, Smokey Butt? Sorry I only have graphics for one of them, because, like, Smokey's the one that gets up here the most. Alright, the real news. We have to talk about Elon Musk again. McCarthy was worried that GOP members put people in jeopardy following the January 6th attack. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, in the days after the Capitol riot, feared that comments made by far-right members of Congress were putting people in jeopardy, according to audio recordings obtained by the New York Times. Can we listen to the audio? Let's do it. There we go.
Okay, the other thing I want to bring up, and I'm making some phone calls to some members. I just got something sent now about Newsmax, something Matt Gaetz said, where he's calling people's names out, saying an anti-Trump in this type of atmosphere. And some.
Once again, how in the fuck is Matt Gaetz still in Congress?
The other places, this is serious stuff people are doing that has to stop. I'll make individual calls.
Shit, guys, I did not see everybody that followed. Adric, welcome. Bread Crochets, Holistic Field, all of you. Thank you guys for being freaking followers.
Louis' comments too. A lot of members have said some real concerning things about.
Did they say something? Did they say something today too?
No, I said Louis was at. Mo was at the rally. You know, we're kicking ass and taking names thing at the
Representative Mo Brooks and Representative Louis Gohmert.
Okay, what did Gaetz say?
Gaetz brought up Liz specifically. I just saw that on Twitter.
Adam, someone just sent it. Gonzalez just sent it to me, so I'm calling Gaetz. I'm explaining to him. I don't have much to say, but I'm going to have some other people call him too. But the nature of what, if I'm getting briefing, I'm going to get another one from the FBI tomorrow. This is serious shit to cut this out.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's potentially illegal what he's doing.
Well,
I mean, that's not the only thing that Gates has done that's potentially illegal.
We saw what people would do in the Capitol, you know, and these people came prepared with rope, with everything else.
Yeah, but you had to blame Warlord for us having to watch it. He's the one that requested it. I skipped over this one here. Let's listen to this. This is a leadership call in the House following January 6th.
The other thing that we have to do is these members on either, whatever position you are, calling out other members, that stuff's got to stop, especially in this nature. So when I get up right here, I'm going to call Gates. But anything else we see, don't assume I see everything. Don't assume I know everything. But we got to have one central point. So, I mean, if you can bring this stuff to Dan Natalie or Lugansky, so you could have it. But, I mean, don't sit back around. It's going to be for you guys personally. Tension is too high. The country is too crazy. I do not want to look back and think we caused something or we missed something and someone got hurt. I don't want to play politics with any of that.
Sir? This is McCarthy saying that he can't put up with inflammatory talk.
What did Mo Brooks say down at that rally, though?
It's the kicking ass and taking names thing is the one that I've seen the most from people. I didn't watch his speech, but that's a number. He
was also wearing a bulletproof vest as he gave those comments.
And Louis said, like, we need to fight or something, right? Didn't he say something a couple days out that was horrendous?
It was something like that, yes. It was incendiary.
I mean, you got the Maxine Waters and all that stuff, too. So, I mean, I know the Dems are in a very strong position right now to drive a lot of things, but our members have got to start paying attention to what they say, too, and you can't put up with
What,
that.
do you want me to give you a picture of Kevin McCarthy right now?
Apparently said, today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking
I might have one handy.
I would say it's even a step further than the kind of rhetorical take, you know.
Well, if you think the president deserves to be impeached for his comments, that's almost something that goes further than what the president said.
Poor Lord, I'm so confused about what you're talking about.
Someone give me the info of what they said. Have either of them apologized for what they've done?
I have not seen that anywhere.
Of course they haven't apologized.
Introduced the Gomer censure, and he did tweet out that, you know, I'm not advocating violence. He also cited Martin Luther King, so, I mean, it wasn't, you know, exactly what I'd call an artful walk back, but sure, I think there's obviously a lot of comments people could circle and find reason to introduce things about.
I wouldn't call it artful.
How many members spoke at that rally?
I thought it was between 8
and that was Steve Scalise saying that it wasn't artful, and this is the dude that said, I'm like David Duke without the baggage or some shit.
but I don't have a confirmation on that.
Yeah, we can put together a list of the members that did.
Really, 8 and 10?
Weed! I'm going to have to pack my bowl again here in a sec.
Did Marjorie Green speak there? I'm sorry, Steve, what did you say?
Yes, I've heard some members talk about bringing Mo up at steering committee to possibly strip him of committees, kind of in the vein of Steve King.
They sure as shit didn't do that.
Definitely come up at steering committee.
He is running for Senate right now, though. He ain't going to be a senator.
Not good ones, but
Armed services.
Mo Brooks was the Trump-endorsed candidate in Alabama in the Senate race for the seat vacated by the retiring Richard Shelby. Trump rescinded his endorsement because Mo was so far behind.
Wow.
And there's an issue with Alabama. Barry Moore has said some things today even that we should look at, honestly.
Yes, Barry Moore is a gigantic asshole who I troll quite often.
What did Barry say today?
Pulling it up 1 second so I quote him correctly. All right, so he deleted his personal Twitter account, but Jamie Dupree with the Atlanta Journal got screenshot. He said about 22 hours ago, wow, we have more arrests for stealing a podium on January 6th than we do for stealing an election on November the 3rd. Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Detroit would be places I recommend you start. There's video evidence of these crimes as well. # election integrity matters. And then
Sounds like some QAnon bullshit.
Moore also made this tweet on Saturday night as the U.S. Capitol police officer who shot and killed a woman as he tried to get into the lobby. So he tweeted, at Marjorie Greene and at NARAL, I understand it was a black police officer that shot the white female veteran. You know, that doesn't fit the narrative.
Wow. Oh, man.
Even the Republicans are like, wow. Oh, man.
Can't they take their Twitter accounts away, too?
Can't they take their Twitter accounts away, too? Was Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the highest-ranking Republican in the House, talking to the second-ranking Republican in the House, Steve Scalise, about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Louis Gohmert, Bo Brooks, and Representative Barry Moore, one-term Congressman Barry Moore. And this is a story, I don't know how all the details fit into this. Michael Cohen says he handed over the Trump documents that the New York Attorney General is looking for to the Manhattan DA. I'm never high enough for this bullshit. I am never high enough for this bullshit, and I'm gonna have to. I have like one bowl of actual pot left, and that's why I'm like saving it. I'll have to like scrape together something here in a second. That was like the last of my keef and like resin and shit that I was smoking. Saving my one bowl to play some video games here after the show. After dinner. Michael Cohen says he handed over the Trump documents that the New York Attorney General is looking for to the Manhattan DA. So there's a lot of things to be. Look, the Attorney General's investigation is still going on. That is the civil investigation going on. I've been getting too confused. The criminal investigation in Manhattan is what is stalled, and a couple of the prosecutors have actually quit. Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, revealed on his Midas Touch reaction videos that he's seen the documents the New York Attorney General is seeking. Do we have the video? Yes. Let's check this out.
A judge has found former President Donald Trump in contempt in the civil case over his business dealings. The judge found that Trump either didn't hand over documents that New York Attorney General Letitia James requested, or that he didn't conduct a sufficient search for them.
The judge came to the conclusion that the Attorney General's office did, which is that the president has not lived up to his legal obligations, and as a result will now have to pay $10,000 a day in court fines to the court for each day that he is not in compliance with this order.
Alrighty, so episode 2 of Michael Cohen Reacts. And today, what just happened? We just learned that a judge is holding former President Donald J. Trump in civil contempt for withholding documents. But of course Donald is going to withhold documents. That's what he does. That's what we already know. So look, let's take a look at some of the documents that he was required to be produced. First and foremost, all documents and communications concerning any statement of financial condition. Well, folks, you already know that they exist because I showed it to the entire world before the House Oversight Committee, and the district attorney has it, and the attorney general has it. In fact, if you go online, you could see it yourself. But what they want is they want the supporting document to it, which is part of the second request of documents to be produced. All documents and communications concerning any valuation of any asset whose value is identified or incorporated into any of the statement of financial conditions. Well, of course we know those exist because they've already spoken. They've already spoken to the people that created these appraisals for the properties. And nobody. I mean, how did Donald Trump, through whether it was Deutsche Bank or whether it was through Ladder Capital, how else do you think that they were able to get past?
Since Michael Cohen mentioned it, I was going to save it for tomorrow. There has been a Deutsche Bank whistleblower found dead. I don't have the whole story. I don't have confirmation on everything. I can't criticize somebody for yelling. I do a lot of yelling myself.
At least the absolute base of due diligence that's necessary. One, to get a $300 million or $400 million loan. The second one through Ladder Capital for over $200 million. There's basic due diligence documents that must be produced. Otherwise, the file is incomplete, and that creates a whole new set of problems for Donald and for Deutsche, and as well as for Ladder Capital. And then they went on, and of course, what does Trump turn around and say? That none of these documents exist. Well, they even go ahead and they asked for certain documents that were given to Forbes magazine, though I don't think it was Forbes magazine. In fact, I think it was The Real Deal magazine that they're referring to. But there was the same personal financial statements that were given to Forbes in order to put Donald at that $10 billion or $8 billion or whatever.
This is the story I was referring to. Whistleblower 45 who helped investigation into Deutsche Bank and Trump is found dead at LA high school campus by cleaner, described himself as a comically terrible spy. Valentine Brooksmith, 45, was found deceased on Monday around 7 a.m. on the campus of Woodrow Wilson High School. Brooksmith was a film producer and self-described comically terrible spy who had reportedly struggled with drugs. An autopsy is pending to determine Brooksmith's cause of death, a report said. New York Times reporter David Enrich said Brooksmith provided the FBI with bank documents when the agency was doing a probe of Deutsche Bank in 2019. Brooksmith was also subpoenaed by the House Intelligence Committee during its probe of Trump's ties to the bank.
The fakakta number that the guy came up with. So, look, I know for a fact that that document exists, and I know it because I have it, and because I gave it to Mark Pomerantz. I gave it to Carrie Dunn. I gave it to the district attorney. Everybody has seen that document. And so, that's in my handwriting. When I sat down with Alan Weisselberg and with Donald, and we decided how we were going to answer these questions in order to prove that Donald was worth what Donald was worth. So, look, the fact that Donald refuses to give documents, whether it's based upon request, subpoena, judicial order, none of that really matters because Donald Trump doesn't care about the law. We've already seen that, and we don't just see it from him. We see it from his sycophantic followers like the Mark Meadows of the world or Dan Scavino and all these others that think that they're above the law and that they don't have to come and they don't have to testify. They don't have to provide documentation like the rest of us. Thank God Thank God for this judge who is now finally holding Donald Trump accountable for something. I mean, we're willing to all take these small little, morsels, in order to hold this man accountable for his dirty deeds. And so now that they're finally going to hold him in civil contempt, I think it's $10,000 a day for each day. Good. Rest assured, he'll let it go for a day, he'll let it go for 2, but when the numbers start piling up after like 7 days and he's at $70,000, he's realizing that they are going to accumulate very, very quickly, large amounts of money, and they will go after him for it. So this is all good news for everybody. This is what we need to see from our Justice Department, something that, as you all know, I'm writing a second book called The Department of Injustice.
Of course you are.
That this starts to change all of our perception of how the Justice Department works. So everyone...
Trump has appealed the ruling because of course he has. But I don't see that. I don't see him being victorious on that. I think he's just trying to do another grift. I take what Michael Cohen says with a grain of salt. He's a grifter that's just sees another path. He can make some money off Trump the other way. He can make some money off of Trump haters. He can make some money off of MSNBC. He can start a podcast. He can write a book. He's just a fucking grifter. All right, so update on the pandemic. It would seem that Dr. Fauci thinks it's no longer a pandemic. At least for us here in the United States. Apparently a CNN analyst disagrees with Fauci. Let's hear what he has to say.
Here in the United States, Dr. Anthony Fauci making a big statement that the United States is no longer in the COVID pandemic phase. Listen.
We are certainly right now in this country out of the pandemic phase. Namely, we don't have 900,000 new infections a day and tens and tens and tens of thousands of hospitalizations.
Right now.
Thousands of deaths. We are at a low level right now.
A low level right now. Dr. Fauci, though, also cautioning that the situation in the United States does not extend necessarily to the rest of the world. He says that there is no doubt that the pandemic phase, is still ongoing globally.
The pandemic has ended, as she has a graphic on screen, up 50% new cases from a week ago. Hospitalizations up 9% from a week ago.
What do you think of how Dr. Fauci is describing the current phase of COVID in the U.S.?
It's a little hard to understand.
Sassy, that's my worry. Is it a completely new variant they've got going on in Shanghai?
Reaching an endemic stage is you have a stable level of disease in the population, and it's clearly not stable. Over the last 2 weeks, cases have risen in the United States over 60%. As for hospitalizations, currently there are 15,000 people hospitalized in the United States with COVID-19, and that number has risen almost 2,000 people over the last couple of weeks. So hospitalizations are now rising. They're up 6%. And because hospitalizations are rising, we will soon see deaths rising. We're still, even though we are much lower than we had been just a few months ago, still about 400 people are dying per day in the United States. And sometime between now and Memorial Day, we will see our...
I think China has actually said that it's like a subvariant of the Omicron variant, but also we don't know. We don't know.
Still very much, with all due respect to Dr. Fauci, I think we are still very much in a pandemic.
Fauci can't win, and that's why I thought he should have stepped aside when Biden took office.
Out from the CDC putting out that from their studying of all of the numbers coming in, 75% of U.S. children, people under the age of 18, 75% had antibodies to COVID by February of 2022. That is a lot. I mean, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means we've both failed to protect our kids, and it's a reminder that...
I feel sorry for Stormy Daniels because she got caught up in a lot of fucking bullshit, and then her lawyer Michael Avenatti ended up being a goddamn grifter.
Biggest tranche of vulnerable, unvaccinated people in this country are children under the age of 5, for whom a vaccine is still not available. This virus has infected an enormous number of children. Thousands of kids have been hospitalized in this country, and while thankfully the vast majority, almost all of these children will survive, we still don't know what the long-term effects are in terms of long COVID. This is a new disease. And
oh, god damn, I didn't realize that just today there have been multiple confirmed outbreaks of bird flu, including the first human case in China. Oh, that's not good. As Sassy brought up in the chat there, god damn. China detects first human case of H3N8 bird flu strain. Experts say widespread transmission of flu in birds is increasing scope for avian viruses to mix and mutate. 4-year-old boy infected had been in contact with chickens and cows raised at his home, according to reports from China's National Health Commission. Avian influenza, or bird flu, as it is commonly known, is highly contagious. With the first reports of human cases in the 1990s, some strains of the bird flu, such as the H3N8, now have been passed to humans, but this is currently very rare and usually occurs after very close contact with infected birds or animals. I just typed in avian flu. We're seeing Derbyshire confirms an outbreak. Nottingham has confirmed an outbreak. This is all posting today. Jesus. There is a bald eagle outbreak of bird flu in the U.S. Yeah, this is a much bigger issue than I thought it was, and I'm sorry I hadn't given it its proper consideration here on the show. Whew.
And it still should be our goal to prevent children from becoming infected.
And that's an interesting sliver of this, because on one side of it, you see that this may be some good news, because if there's such a vast majority of kids under the age of 18 are unvaccinated, but still you have 75% of them with antibodies. But what you say is important, which is we don't know the long tail of this for what this means for all children. I also mentioned, Dr. Reiner, that city in China where 1 million people are now under lockdown after just one positive case in the city. And that follows the brutal lockdowns that we've been watching play out in Shanghai and beyond in China.
Yeah, they care about actually, preventing people from dying.
So commitment to its zero COVID strategy. What does this say to you about that zero COVID strategy and where this goes from here?
And I would just like to point out, if all municipalities across the world had been like China with a zero COVID strategy, COVID would be over right now. COVID would have been over a long time ago.
Well, it can't work in China. The problem in China is that they have vaccinated an enormous number of people. Almost 87% of their population has received at least one shot, an amazing feat in a country of over 1 billion people. The problem is this Sinovac, which they've largely used, an adenovirus-based vaccine, is not really very effective against Omicron.
Sassy just coming in here with the doom news.
If you look at the efficacy data for preventing death, a recent study out of Hong Kong showed that it was about 72 shots were about 77% effective in preventing death. The problem is that the most vulnerable people in China, the elderly, people over the age of 80, less than 50% of the elderly in China have received 2 doses of Sinovac. So they vaccinated the population with a vaccine that is not very effective against the predominant virus circulating. There's been some suggestion that China should...
Really? You think I look like that?
...campaign to use an mRNA vaccine, a much more effective vaccine against Omicron, but they are resistant to doing that. So they're trying to basically lock everyone down in the hopes of preventing spread of this virus. What they should be doing is revaccinating the country with a more effective vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, the steps that they're taking are pretty remarkable to see playing out now this far in to the pandemic. Leaning on your resume, we're also learning more about Vice President Kamala Harris, who tested positive for COVID yesterday. We know that she is fully vaccinated and double boosted, actually. And we've also been told today that she's taking Pfizer's antiviral COVID pill. What do you think of the treatment and what all is going on?
Why don't you go ahead and take some ivermectin while you're at it, Harris? Jesus.
Yeah,
that's the Joe Rogan kitchen sink method.
Sense to me. So we were told yesterday that the vice president was asymptomatic, that she tested positive on a routine test.
Oh, I thought she was having mild symptoms.
The vice president are apparently tested twice a week, and that she tested positive on one of these routine tests but had no symptoms. So Paxlovid is really not a drug to be given to someone without symptoms. And in fact, the emergency use authorization for the drug from the FDA really limited this medication to people who were at high risk of developing moderate to high risk of developing severe complications from an infection. So, if certainly the vice president is otherwise a healthy person, hard to understand why she would be at high risk, and also it's hard to understand why one would administer Paxlovid to an asymptomatic person. I understand the unusual.
She's fucking rich and powerful.
But it doesn't appear that either we know the whole story or that the drug is being used as authorized by the FDA.
That is interesting. Dr. Reiner, thanks for coming in.
He's throwing some shade. Thanks, Doc. That was informative. All right, you guys want some good news? Hunter Grimes, what's up? Getting a comment from the Trovo tonight. Guy comment, welcome. I don't know if I said hey to you earlier. Here's some good news for you. It appears that the Biden administration may indeed stand behind their promise to cancel at least 50 grand of student loan debt. That is, yeah, you're right, RB. Truth isn't shade. That is fantastic news. They should just go ahead and cancel all of it, but fucking 50 grand would at least be something. Please do that before the midterms. That seems to be the conventional wisdom going around in Washington, that they will indeed cancel 50 grand before the midterms. This is Representative Rashida Tlaib talking about canceling student debt.
Congressman, with President Biden, I know everybody wants him to cancel the student debt. How long do you think that would, when that would happen anyway?
I wish I knew, because I would like to tell my residents when they'll finally get relief. Them being out here and people starting to talk about it, and even when, they're not talking about it as much in the White House or in Congress. I mean, right now, I'm grateful that the president did suspend payments and extended it to August. That's huge, but the stress and anxiety of that debt, because it's not going anywhere. So it's only just holding it off, which at this point, doing it this many times, it's just not enough.
Right.
And so I know for my residents, they want to become homeowners. They want to be able to thrive. The cost of living is increased. This would be a huge economic stimulus for them.
And I know, according with wealth, as far as like we see some of the billionaires with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, now it seems like they're trying to, get a lot.
Copy boy.
It's like buying the bigger yacht now.
Yeah.
How does that thing going to play in politics?
I don't know. I know this much. Even during this pandemic, we've
Moxicino, I'm with you.
For 2 years that have been struggling so much. To see billionaires actually get richer during the pandemic, and folks are kind of disgusted by the corporate greed. The fact that many of these people are benefiting off of broken systems, off of these systems that really promote corporate greed and profit driven versus putting people first. It's hard. I know that people shake their heads all the time.
I know I'm shaking my head about it. Well, see, here's the thing about why student loan debt is different than a mortgage. Education is a public good. we should invest in. And up until about Gen X, around 1985, 1990, the U.S. government, state and federal, covered most of the cost of higher education. Post 1990, those systems were dismantled, and my generation had a privatized version of school that was predatory. All I want is what the previous generations got. The government footed the bill for most of the cost of education up until about 30 years ago. And then it just became a scam to scam as many people and make college cost as much as it could. And it's disgusting. And the people saddled with debt right now are the people that you want to have money in order to keep the economy going. So you'll see articles constantly about how millennials aren't doing this, millennials aren't buying that, millennials aren't having children, millennials aren't homeowners. It's because they have been saddled with debt. And it's predatory. Watch Freedom Law School on YouTube. Hunter Grimes, I will tell you, don't do that. Freedom Law on YouTube is feeding you bullshit. Do not do that. You will indeed go to jail. And you should. Fucking stupid ass libertarian accounts on YouTube. Next, you're going to tell me about NFTs and Bitcoin. Hey, fellas, have you heard about NFTs? I don't think you know shit about the law. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm kind of doubting you know jack squat about it. They've been watching some of that sovereign citizen fucking libertarian nonsense. Fucking idiots. Right-wingers are morons, ladies and gentlemen. I try to save them from the scams, but no, they want to fall for it. Yes, I've been brainwashed. Uh-huh. I fucking love it when idiots tell me I've been brainwashed. Yes, I was just quoting Victor Chaus. Not Chaus. It's chaos. I bet Hunter Grimes is also a big fan of Elon Musk. Hunter, are you excited Elon Musk bought Twitter? Apparently, Elon is already having an effect. Elon is unsuspending people's accounts that have been banned from Twitter. At least this is what Drunk3PO says. Drunk3PO on YouTube tells us that Elon Musk unsuspended his Twitter account.
Subscribe to intoxicated 3PO. Is that what they wanted? Yeah? Are we good? Did we do it?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel.
What's going on?
Old school today. We're celebrating. We're celebrating because it appears Elon Musk and Twitter has unsuspended my account from a year ago. That's right.
First of all, Elon Musk has zero power at Twitter. The sell has not gone through. There is speculation that he's actually trying to doom the sell.
From a year ago. I tweeted this out last night. I was like, I wonder if the Drunk 3PO suspension will be overturned. Help me, Elon Musk. You're my only hope. And
if somebody did want to come in and debate, the phone lines are indeed open, 917-830-4359, or you can hop in the Discord. The link's down below, or you can just bang Discord, bang phone, it'll pull up for you.
And I did. I went to the appeal process. I just did it on my phone, on my old account. This is like my 8th time sending in an appeal, and they just were like, yeah, sorry about that. You're back on. You're back. You're
well,
back.
I'm gonna send another appeal on my account. I had been appealing it like every fucking week or two.
With myself, this account had about 20,000 followers. In the past 8 hours, I've gained 2,000, almost 2,500 followers. That's kind of.
I don't know what Bang Justin does.
And if you remember, this is why
you can make it do something if you want.
This is why I was banned. This is why I was suspended. They got me for the wham. They got me for the.
God damn it! God damn it! Why are you playing it on my fucking stream, you asshole?
Tweet a lot of times on Twitter. They're like, hey,
never gonna dance again.
But if you delete this tweet, we'll give it back to you. They didn't even give me that opportunity. They're like, we're done with you. We're done with you. I admit this old Twitter account was a little spicy. We went hard on people sometimes, but I'm just having some fun. I'm talking to myself.
Me too, brother. Me too.
And I just began talking to myself. You know, the two accounts, and people don't know what to do about it. They're just like, wait, what? What's going on here? I don't understand. Frank was like, this should be your next guest on the podcast, talking to myself. But there's a lot of people upset. There's a lot of people upset at.
I'd just like to point out that my account is still suspended.
And thank you to Libs of TikTok for putting this little compilation. Let's all laugh together, shall we? Let's all laugh together.
Well, it looks like Twitter's gone. They accepted the money, and Elon Stalin is taking over. So fuck you, Twitter, and goodbye forever, you insane Q-like forum.
It was people like you that made it insane.
Like forum. Peace out.
What?
Bye.
Elon Musk, this is directly to you. Enjoy Twitter. I just deactivated mine. I will not be reacting.
Now. I think I have it over here. I may not, but somebody actually figured it out. They had all the proof. Fucking Elon started buying shares of Twitter the day after the dude turned down the offer to what was $5,000 for the account that was tracking his private plane. That's how petty dumbass Elon Musk is.
Enjoy.
I'm just saying.
I deactivated my account and deleted the app. That's what I think of it. Fuck Elon Musk.
Today, Twitter has announced that they've been bought by Elon Musk, or however you say his name.
I don't know what this is amusing to the dude.
Twitter anymore because of this, and I think there's a lot of people that are about to leave. So I just wanted to let everyone know that you can find me here. I'm gonna also share this on Twitter.
There's been a slight tick down in users, but there's also been a whole bunch of bots.
I did a thing today. I deactivated my Twitter account.
Well, that's weird. Like the kid wanted 50 grand. He turned down the $5,000.
Delete it. And it just.
And the kid wanted 50 grand.
And listen, maybe there's a little swing here. Maybe there's some new energy in the air. Can you smell it?
Sorry.
Can you smell it? Is all I'm saying. There's some new energy. What are you saying, Jay? I mean, look at Netflix.
I added the permitted term piece of shit. You're welcome.
And then you've got the governor of Florida going after what he calls woke Disney. He ain't holding back. He's just
like a fucking idiot.
Get into politics, Disney. You think you could just push me around? Boom, boom, boom. Bill, law.
Disney has been into politics. Jesus fucking Christ, these people are stupid.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
They had no problem with Disney protecting their IP, fucking dodging taxes, taking advantage of Florida. No. It was when Disney employees started complaining about the company supporting Republican politicians that were attacking gay people and trans people. That's all it was.
That's interesting to watch. And now the Elon Musk, where everyone's like,
he absolutely overpaid for Twitter.
Elon, like they think that's gonna change something. And this is their mindset. This is their mindset. Ever since, that meme of that lady screaming when Trump got elected, this is what they do. They cry when they don't get their way. They cry. I mean, they scream like
you're on the side that staged a violent insurrection because you didn't get your way on in the election. Are you serious?
Like children. Like, I don't understand. It's like, no. It's just like, what? This is what we're dealing with. And right now, it's all over Twitter. I mean, the crying.
And none of the people that he played were crying. Not a one of them.
Is all over Twitter. I mean, all over. So, I mean, I don't know why they think that's going to change anything. I don't get it. I mean, listen, we see it from politicians. We see it from regular people. It's just, they don't get their way. They scream and cry. Scream and cry. As if...
Remember, it was Elon Musk not getting his way that caused him to buy Twitter.
That's going to change anything. I don't know. But I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day. All is love. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And if you see me talking to myself...
All is love. Have a wonderful day, everyone. What a douche. Does he consider it screaming and crying when Elon Musk attacks Twitter executives? 2 days after striking a deal to purchase Twitter, Elon Musk used his powerful Twitter account to elevate conservative criticism of 2 executives at the social media company, rolling a workforce already uneasy about how he will balance his abrasive social media style and embrace of free speech with his stewardship of the company. I wish people would quit calling it free speech. He doesn't want free speech. On Wednesday, he tweeted a meme to his more than 86 million followers with the face of Twitter's top lawyer, Jaya God, that appeared to suggest the company's decisions are affected by a left-wing bias. The tweet came hours after he criticized a 2020 policy decision God made and was in response to an earlier tweet from a political podcast host calling her the company's top censorship advocate. Users quickly piled on, calling on Musk to fire Gad or using racist language to describe her. Gad was born in India and immigrated to the United States as a child. One user said she would go down in history as an appalling person. Well, that's not so bad. When I started reading the tweet, I thought it was going to be some grade A misogyny. I mean, not misogyny. Grade A racism. What am I fucking... I'm trying to think about something else that was going on. I want to show you guys this. It just popped into my head as I was saying it. This was on C-SPAN yesterday, I think. A call from Tennessee. I guess I'm assuming it was the Republican line they were calling in on C-SPAN.
Current things here in America that's going on, particularly in the press and the politics of America. I want to know if we could cut out some of this, if we could cut out some of these liberal things that are going on in America. Just like on the TV now. We have 2 minorities, and I'm not against you minorities. I'm 83 years old.
Caller, that shouldn't be a factor in the guests that we invite to our program, which we did invite. So what's your question or comment for them, please?
When I was a little boy, listen, I'm 83 years old. When I was a little boy, the colored people here...
Okay, we're going to stop it there. Let's go to Nancy. Apologies for that. Nancy in East Peoria, Illinois, Republican line. You're next up. Hello.
Just illustrating how their minds work. Us tweets have singular power to unleash mobs against people with much lower profiles. I've been trying my best. Every video I do about Elon Musk, I tweet it out, tag him, and say, please call me a pedo. Will you please retweet this and call me a pedo? Because I want him to turn his mob against me. I want it. I want it so bad. I want it so bad. as Musk stakes his $44 billion takeover on one of the world's most influential social media platforms on the promise of restoring free speech there, his rhetoric is at odds with the way his supporters have weaponized Twitter, prompting people to lock down their personal profiles and public information. By the way, these people don't believe in free speech. These people don't believe in free speech, not a one of them. All of them talking about censorship and the woke mob coming for you, trying to cancel you. They don't believe in Musk blocks people constantly. I want it, Tones. You can't tell me it wouldn't be good for the show. Just like Matt Walsh's people coming after me was good for the Troll Patrol. Musk's people coming after me would be good for it. I want it. I want it. I've been preparing my whole life for it. Everything in my existence that led me up to this moment to get Elon Musk to call me a pedo. Let's watch Joe Rogan's live reaction to finding out that Elon Musk bought Twitter. This should be fun.
This is where we find ourselves with Elon Musk about to buy Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
Apparently it's going down.
It happened.
Oh, shit!
What?
Oh, shit!
The press release has been announced.
Elon Musk just bought Twitter. We got a movie star type of a superhero. It's like a movie. Like if you had a movie and there was a guy.
No. You've got a rich person that either paid for or used his influence to get on an episode of Star Trek, an episode of The Simpsons, to have all the fucking Rick and Morty. Yeah, Sassy Snicks. That's another thing none of these people point out. A lot can happen in the next year, especially because there is a no disparagement clause in Elon Musk's paperwork, and they're saying that attack on Gad that we just talked about could violate that non-disparagement clause. The speculation is that possibly Elon, I'm sorry, Sky Comet, the speculation is that Elon is trying to actually doom his own purchase of Twitter, which is fine. He dominated the news cycle, got a lot of his lawsuits buried in the press. So, hey, if it falls through because of some shit he said, that'll just help his PR with people like idiot-ass Joe Rogan.
Movie who happened to be a billionaire, does wild shit, like makes his own rockets and drills under the city and electric cars and then buys Twitter.
Insane.
Elon Musk agrees to buy Twitter in a $44 billion deal. Agreement to take social media network private marks the close of dramatic courtship. Here's why that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, tell me. I need to hear what you think.
He believes that free speech is important, and not just important, vital for a democracy, for a functioning democracy.
No, he doesn't. Countless examples we have shown that he retaliates against people, fires people, blocks people.
Democracy. And I agree with that. And what's interesting...
DJ, welcome!
Look, we found out some things about Twitter, and one of the things they do is shadow ban people. So they make it so that your content, whatever you put out, has less impact. It has less engagement. They limit your ability to express yourself.
That's fucking any social media platform, and they're doing it on behest of their advertisers. They're advertisers. Then it was a 3-minute clip, but it cut it off.
They ban accounts.
Oh, there we go.
And they ban accounts if the account says something that they don't agree with. If the account
Adam, do you have the power to put PJ in there?
What they believe.
Can you make him a command?
Ability to shadow ban people.
Or Tones, if you're still around. Tones, can you make a command for PJ?
Do you remember that clip you just saw?
Yes.
Where I said I should be. It was about me.
Yes,
and
thank you.
How I felt.
Yeah.
It was taken down, and I was put on probation.
Well, TikTok is rough.
It's the roughest.
Yeah. Well, I think they don't want anything that interrupts ad revenue and anything that gets them.
Can someone buy TikTok and please?
Capitalism.
But maybe the Chinese won't sell. Maybe they.
Whoa. TikTok. You were talking about organic reach, Joe Rogan. My God. I have been posting my freaking newses on TikTok just this week. They get 6 or 7 views, like, on a good day on YouTube. One of them got like 600 fucking views already. So, what's your issue with TikTok exactly?
They sell it. It'll be like one of them deals, like you think you bought it, but there's nothing in it.
I doubt someone's going to sell. They're not going to sell TikTok. They're really the worst. They're the
TikTok's the worst.
I can't believe TikTok. I didn't think they were gonna. That was gonna happen with him on Twitter. That's amazing.
Apparently, it was really close yesterday, and I had heard it this morning that it was probably going to happen. But the fact that it's now announced, that's fucking amazing. Look, it'll change everything, and I wonder how quickly it is before Donald Trump's back.
I think I already saw the thing. He said he's not going to come back, even if Elon bought it.
He will.
I didn't see a reason why, but that's
Variety reported I'll tell you exactly why. Because of his Truth Social.
Where he's butthurt.
Yeah. Why are we playing around with this Twitter shit? We could be on Truth.
No, you didn't want me. I'm not going to come back.
Donald Trump's social media
platform. I'm going to go over here and cry and pout.
The best. It's the biggest. The biggest of all time. They say that Twitter's not as big.
Donald Trump says, I'm not going back to Twitter, even with Elon Musk taking over.
Donald, reconsider.
I've said it before, you guys. I've always really liked Joe Rogan. He's just dumb. He's just dumb, and he gets led by whoever's in front of him. That's all. I was about to say, maybe it spared us. Maybe it spared us. I didn't think it was going to load up there for a second. Like, oh, fuck, we don't have to watch Ben Shapiro now. Unfortunately, it did finally load up. Content warning on this one? You gotta look at Ben Shapiro and you gotta hear his weaselly-ass little voice. I promise you. I don't know if we're gonna make it all the way through this motherfucker. Because goddamn, 35 minutes of Ben Shapiro talking about Elon Musk. I can't imagine that we're gonna be able to make it all the way through the 35 minutes. But, stick with me. I have an amazing video of a pit bull on the other side of this. I promise you. I tried to grab the best animal video I could to wash the taste of Ben Shapiro out of your mouth. Also, I hope none of you ever have to experience the taste of Ben Shapiro in your mouth.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Offer to buy, and we examine all the panic and all the possibilities. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. The Ben Shapiro Show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. I talk about them every single show.
Oh, why good. I guess skip some shit.
Yet? If you allow
I have a
them to speak
VPN.
freely, then advertisers can pick and choose where they wish to advertise, and maybe everybody will stop harassing advertisers about where they choose to advertise. It's the simple fact is that Twitter, as it was operated, was a leftist organ. And you can see that by the freakout that Musk's takeover is now engendering in the left. It is incredible to watch the left lose its absolute mind. Because here's the thing. Musk has not announced that he is going to be making any massive changes to Twitter. The user experience is going to be very similar. All he has said...
Oh, I must have the ringer turned off or something. I'm sorry, PJ.
...in favor of more free speech on the platform.
Give us a ring-a-ding again. We'd love to hear what you got to say, my friend. Caller, you're on the Troll Patrol. What's going on?
Hey, Justin, it's PJ. What's up, man?
PJ, my friend. Glad to talk to you.
Yeah. I was going to do the Discord one. I'm like, oh, shit, my man got that. He's smart. He knows how to run that Google Voice. So I was
Phone,
calling you.
Discord, either one, whichever one's easier.
I just wanted to check in to see if your subpoena has showed up yet.
My subpoena for what?
You don't remember that Twitter thread, do you?
Which one?
Exactly.
I saw you. You hopped into the dude I was making fun of today. You hopped into that one like I hadn't got a chance to check back in with that. I saw I had 20 notifications.
It's winded down. It's it's nothing much. But no, there's the one guy that's been going on about your metrics and trying to follow you, and he's like, I got a subpoena sent.
Was that the Kilgore trousers?
Yes.
That one, yes. That has been one of the weirdest trolls, and I'm not entirely certain that they aren't the same people, some of these people that pop up. I think they might go in to see like my tweets and then hop, like they create a new account and go in and see my tweets and then hop in some other conversation I'm having, because it seems like they're coming from wherever I'm, trolling at.
Right. Yeah, and or even if they're just in them same waters, you know what I mean? If it is like separate people, but they just, it's them fishing those currents. Because like that's the funny thing about it in terms of what Shapiro was saying right there, and even Rogan going on about the, AKA shadow ban bullshit. These people just don't understand. It's like, no, it's the algorithm. They determined like, oh, you do kind of liberal lefty leaning tweets. Well, we're going to show you more liberal lefty people. It's not Facebook. They don't look to make raging engagement with Twitter. It's a little bit different. Facebook purposely, if you're tagged as a lib, or whatever, they will purposely put inflammatory right-wing shit in sponsored posts on your timeline. That's Facebook's entire fucking model.
But you know what? They don't do it the opposite way. Facebook thinks I'm a Republican, but they don't show me liberal shit. They show me more Republican shit.
Which is weird, because if you go into liberal lib or even lefty meme pages, like you see guys in there complaining like, this shit appeared on my timeline. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're commenting on it, so they're going to send you more shit. You're interacting. But it's like you just go into those, and it's just like littered with a bunch of chuds just crying in the fucking comment section about the meme or the post or whatever. Like, it's just like the whole concept of the shadow ban. It's like that's algorithm, and it's how they set up the ad demos to sell you shit. You know what I mean? It's how they know how to sell Harry's razors to one group of people, and then Justin's razors or whatever the fuck it is to the other group.
We're starting Justin's razors.
There already is.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, no, it's literally I think it's called Justin or Jason's Razors, but it's literally the chud response to Harry's.
Oh. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
Jeremy's. That's Jeremy Boring.
Oh,
I did know about that.
Oh, okay, it's Jeremy's Razors. I'm sorry.
That's the name of the CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring.
Okay, indeed boring.
He's an interesting fellow. He has retweeted me a few times.
Well, he also just did that dumb shit in fucking New York with Tim Pool, too.
Yes. God damn, taking out that fucking billboard. And how much that shit cost?
Probably 5 figures.
That's what I was thinking.
Like 10 grand, maybe. Oh, probably no. It's New York. You know what? It's New York. It's probably a little bit more prime. It could probably be like 50, 75 now, for real, for a day. Like they could probably be like they could premium their ass too.
Yeah, it was one of those digital billboards, so it's not like they put something up. Like there was no physical labor or anything, but like still, like that shit is expensive.
Yeah, New York. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 6 figures, but more likely maybe 5 figures for the day.
Well, in Times Square too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for all we know, the motherfuckers had it up for like 8 hours and took the photo and then put it down. Like, oh yeah, that's all you paid for. Cool, you're done.
Yeah, my chat wants us to argue about something. It's no fun having people that agree with it.
Oh no shit! Yeah, it is the troll patrol, right? That's the
no. No, I'm glad to finally get to talk to you, PJ. Like I just so happened like I was working the other day when I hopped in your chat. I had to. I was trying to find an email, and I got into my like spam email where like it sends all my Twitch notifications. I was like, "Oh shit, PJ's on!" I jumped onto it to watch you.
Well, and hey, if you have the ability, like I do the Chop Shop. It's basically a daily show. I got an open line for like friends or whomever if anyone wants to get if anyone tries to be an idiot and wants to get on the air, cool. You know, within reasons, obviously, within reason, with toss and whatnot. But no, yeah, I do it Monday through Friday for the most part, like 1 to 5. You know what I mean? Just like you, we riff on the news and then just go over whatever, try, you know, we do bits.
Had a lot of fun with you guys the other day.
What's that?
Had a lot of fun with you guys the other day until I had to hop off.
Yeah, we the one that we did recently was pretty funny. Was Corvus, my partner, she streams with me as well. We're gonna have her use her like great corporate PR marketing voice, and we had her reading like Emma Goldman quotes over like the corporate music. It was awesome.
Oh shit!
And then, yeah, and then we're gonna have her. We're gonna do a video on how to basically make a certain cocktail, like step by step, and make it like a Walmart training video. So that's gonna be fun.
I like it. Got some good content coming up. I'll get everybody to shout you out in the chat. Make sure everybody follows you.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I just wanted to get a chat call in with you because I saw you're on. I was like, let me see if I can have some fun here, Velvet Kilgore.
Hell yeah! And if like anybody that's not following me on Twitter and PJ on Twitter, like we have a lot of fun owning the chuds over there.
Dude, I love the best. It's like, oh, you think you're are you also a multimedia professional? I stream and talk a lot of shit. Stop it. That's it. That's what I do. Multimedia. The fuck is this guy going on about?
I talk a lot of shit. That dude went to my LinkedIn.
What's that?
He went to my LinkedIn. That's where he got that like multimedia shit from. Because like, you know, it's one of the things that I do is like multimedia consulting.
Dude, like, to me, like real fast on, because I'll let you go after this, but it's just like, to me, the best thing is the delusion that some of those, like, it's a type of guy that posts, right? It's a type of guy poster where it's just this, ooh, I know how I can call the authorities and get you, I know how to get you in trouble. It's just like this weird, like, you think you're the fucking Riddler or some shit like that. I don't know what complex these motherfuckers
it's
got.
All these right-wingers. I've had them say that to me so many times, and I had the one do it last night. Said that they were in the military, and they blah, 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 and tagged some Air Force base. It was like, you don't want to mess with them, and I'm like, they can suck my fuck. What did I say? I said something really funny. I don't remember what it sucked my... I hate it when I forget my jokes. God damn it.
Yeah, because there's bangers. That's the thing. I drop bangers and I forget them sometimes. Like, shit.
But that is wild because, like, they said they were doing, like, they were fighting child trafficking and stuff. They were like, oh, I've seen things you can never know. I've had somebody call into the show and be like, I'm a cop and I've seen things or I used to be a cop. I've seen things you've never seen. You wouldn't know.
It's just like, what is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? Like,
it's an appeal to authority.
Your fucking CEO gave you a shitty beat. I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, maybe this is reasons why we need to improve society a little bit, so you don't have to see these horrific things on the job. Like, what do you mean by this? You know, and again, it's just this concept of, like, it really boils down to, like, it's main character syndrome with that sheepdog shit, that sheepdog watchdog fucking thin blue line type of shit. It's so messed up. It's just like they really do think they're fucking Batman. It's hilarious. Like, they're Batman, but they ain't with Bruce Wayne's billions. You know what I mean? Like, they got their fucking, their 5-year-old Belle.
And like, you know for a fact that they're just like participating in QAnon message boards. They're not actually fighting, and they think they're fighting child trafficking or some shit.
That do your own research, people. Yeah, man. It's like, it's so weird how I don't know. I guess maybe because, like, being a musician, you know what I mean, and you as well, like, actually working in media and so forth, like, it's I don't know. It's like we kind of have and understand the landscape a little bit. You know what I mean? Of like, oh yeah, cool. This is the level I'm at. This is what blah blah blah. But for these guys, like, they really do think it's like, oh, I built something, and it's like, no, you've hung out on 4chan 8 hours a day. You haven't built shit.
Zero self-awareness. They have no self-awareness whatsoever.
Yeah, it's an interesting type of guy. I'll just leave it at that. Justin, I gotta get running.
PJ, you are the man. I appreciate you calling in.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Take it easy.
Have a fantastic night, my friend. Thank you, PJ, for calling in and delaying Shapiro. Dreading it. I may turn it off here.
He tweeted, quote, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy. Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans."
As I've said many times, if you really cared about the platform, you would make the whole thing open source, not just the algorithm.
Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. Now that sounds pretty above board, right? He's saying that he wants to make the algorithms open source so you can actually see how the algorithms work. He's saying that he wants more free speech on the platform. That's it. More transparency and more free speech, and the left is freaking out, which shows you two things. One, the left really hates transparency and they really hate free speech, especially on these social media platforms. And this has really been true since 2016. I have been making this point for years on end, that up until 2016, social media was seen as an unmitigated blessing for the left. The left loved social media. After all, Barack Obama had effectively manipulated Facebook in 2012 in genius ways to achieve his own reelection. Then, Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, and social media became the enemy to the left. Social media had to be brought to heel. Social media had been taken over by Russian spam bots and evil right-wingers, and therefore, we needed governmental oversight. You saw people like Kara Swisher constantly complaining at the New York Times that there just wasn't enough oversight. There just wasn't enough censorship at places like Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. You saw folks over at CNBC and MSNBC.
It's a power top.
How terrible it was that social media had allowed too many people to speak freely. You saw Dianne Feinstein, the senator from California, openly say to Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook that unless you crack down on content, we will find a way to punish you.
Well, Dianne Feinstein has no clue where she's at, so.
Specifically, because that free speech allowed alternative viewpoints to get out there. And they successfully cudgeled places like Twitter and Facebook into doing their bidding, which is why at the end of the 2020 election, 1 month before the 2020 election, you saw the Hunter Biden story completely shut down on social media in coordinated fashion. It's why you saw all of these social media outlets begin to coordinate in who they would ban. And they would wait until one day and then...
I have no clue what he's talking about.
I think Alex Jones is terrible. That doesn't mean he ought to be banned from social media. I think Milo Yiannopoulos is awful.
No. Alex Jones absolutely deserved to be banned from social media. Do I need to remind you of what Alex Jones did? Push conspiracy theories about Sandy Hook that he is now going bankrupt over.
Awful. I don't think you ought to be banned from social media. All of these outlets would simply, all at once, decide that they wanted these people gone, and then they would, in collusive fashion, just ban them. And that was the end of them. You saw them all do this to Donald Trump in the aftermath of January 6th, for the most prominent.
Well, yeah, he incited a violent insurrection that violated the terms of service. Like, I am currently getting ready to get out of Facebook jail in like 2 hours. In like 2 hours. Do you know the reason why I was in Facebook jail, Ben Shapiro? Because somebody told me that Republicans don't have, there's no Nazis on the Republican side, and I posted a bunch of pictures of Trump supporters with Trump gear holding Nazi flags, and I was promoting violent ideology. So if that gets me banned from Facebook, imagine what actually inciting an insurrection against the country should result in. I think he got off easy, to be honest with you. He should be sitting in prison right now.
Prominent example. And this is something that the left loved. And then they lied.
Turning the freaking frogs gay.
You know, we're not anti-free speech. We're not anti-transparency. We just don't want any free speech or transparency. Well, all Elon Musk has said in taking over Twitter is that he wants more free speech and more transparency. And he tweeted out, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means."
So he can block them and kick them off.
Loving minds. They've lost their minds. Why? Because they always knew. Their assumption always was Twitter was on their side. Twitter was their outlet. Twitter was
I have never thought that Twitter was on my side. I've never thought that a corporation was on my side.
That monopoly. They freak out. The minute somebody says, listen, I'd like more openness and more transparency, they lose their minds, which shows you, again, they were lying the whole time. They kept saying to all of us on the right, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. Twitter is the town square. You're complaining about the way that they are manipulating information or strangling off information or bottlenecking things or shadow banning people. You keep saying this sort of stuff, but it's all in your head. It's not real. Okay, well, if it's not real, then why are you freaking...
He's talking about Twitter being liberal. Can I break this down for you guys? The top shareholders of Twitter are the Vanguard Group, Morgan Stanley, and BlackRock. The Vanguard Group, Morgan Stanley investment firm, and BlackRock. Those are the three biggest shareholders of Twitter. They amount to over a fourth of the company's shares. They are not liberal. Those are three conservative companies.
Out now that Elon Musk has threatened to open up the process a little bit. So all of this has raised the question as to what exactly Elon Musk is going to do once he takes over. By the way, Twitter shares did rise almost 6% on Monday to close at $51.70 each. The stock, according to the Wall Street Journal, has been an anemic performer in an era of huge returns for technology companies. Its shares jumped on their first day of trading.
I don't have any
to close at $44.90.
I need to pack another bowl. We've been going too long.
8 years later, when Mr. Musk made his approach. Okay, so what exactly is Elon Musk committing to do? Well, as I've said, he hasn't actually committed to do much at all at this point, other than more free speech and more transparency. There's some speculation as to what he is going to do. According to the Wall Street Journal, Musk wants to make substantial changes to Twitter. He reiterated his push to soften Twitter's stance on content moderation. He also promised new features like making algorithms.
No, I was staying on to, well, no, that's my usual time. Oh, we came on early because everybody wanted to watch the Trump Piers Morgan interview. So we watched that like a half hour before the show started. About like 7:45 before we got to the real news. No, I was just, I was letting Ben Shapiro talk. I had planned to play the whole 35 minutes because he goes into a lot of shit on here, but I don't want to do it. So I was just killing time until I knew Echoplex would be on, before I gave you guys this awesome video of this pit bull. Apparently this pit bull likes to go to Shake Shack. Kitty drags mom to Shake Shack is the name of the video.
She starts speed walking. She has it in her head that she wants to go there. She won't budge until I walk that way. She makes a beeline to that counter. Can I do a puccini for her?
A puccini for the baby! Mr. Workwine. I assume that's a pit bull joke. Pit bull who haunts me in my dreams. Man, pit bulls, they get in the habit of doing something, and if you break that habit, they don't like it very much. Oh. Oh, she looked it clean. Oh, baby. She's so sad. Shake Shack isn't open. Oh. Oh. Our wine store.
Well, did they open early for you?
She did. She told the pity they have Shake Shack at home.
And then the pet food store. She just walks around the store. I joke that she's like checking inventory.
I wish I could take Smokey to stores and shit, but Smokey does not cooperate. He seems like he would be a cat that would cooperate when he has his harness on. He does not. He is an asshole. Why would I want to take Smokey out with me? Because he's cool. That's why. Aren't you, buddy?
And that's continued into adulthood.
Ew. Yeah, you've seen him be a nutball.
To let her do this. She just likes that close.
I want to hug that pitty.
Wants to be held.
He is absolutely adorable.
Glad I took a break from working. No.
Well, like 75, 80% of the time, this cat is the most chill cat ever. Like, he gets these, like, all the hairs up his ass.
To be hugged.
My shit's not working over here. I was like...
A hug as much as the other one.
It may be like last night, and I'll fuck up the raid or some shit.
Some hugs.
There we go.
It's just become this really strong bond between us. I'm incredibly lucky to have a dog as
All right, if you're watching on Twitch, it is Intellectual Dollar Tree. It's Wednesday night over on Echoplex Media. That's where you guys are heading. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.